Okay, so if you take a minute and read the question, you can pause me if you need to. They're talking about the fact that we've got ES right here, and it's parallel to AT. So remember we did talk briefly about if you have parallel lines, this angle here and this angle here will be equal to one another. And likewise, on the other side, angle S will be equal to angle T there. Okay, those are called corresponding angles. You don't need to know that it's called corresponding angles. You just need to know that they're equal. So what that does is also, I don't know if you remember, and again, if you don't remember the name, reflexive up here, this angle right up here, okay, will be what we call a reflexive angle. And I'll explain that. Let me just mark that off first for you. Okay, so you have a small triangle here, CES, and it contains angle C. But you also have a big triangle here, CAT, and it also contains that angle as well. So that's why we call this reflexive. It just means that that angle is part of this little triangle here. And if you look at the bigger picture, it's part of that bigger triangle there also. So by the fact that they told you that these two lines are parallel, what that does is it cuts off two similar triangles, CES, which is smaller, and then CAT, which is bigger. Okay, but remember, when you have similar triangles, their corresponding angles are equal. Okay, all right, so they want to know which statement is always true. So when you have similar triangles, their sides are in proportion. Certainly, if you look at this, right? If you look at the length of CE, that's definitely smaller than CA, right? But they're in proportion to one another. So CS is smaller than CT. ES is smaller than AT. The other thing that you need to know, though, is when we have a line that's parallel and it cuts this big triangle across like that, this little piece here, EC, will be in a proportion with AE. And likewise on the other side, CS to ST. Okay, all right. So let's just kind of go through in the answer choices. So this one says CE over CA. So CE over CA. Well, those are corresponding sides. This is the small triangle's left side, and this is the big triangle's left side. So far, so good. Now, let's look over here. CS, well, that's the small triangle's right side. But this says ST, and that is not the large triangle's right side. So again, if we go over here, we look, we did small, large, right? Small, large. Then over here, that's small. So over here, we should have large, which should be CT, and that's not what that says. Okay, so that is not correct. Cross that baby off. All right, let's go to choice 2. So choice 2 says CE, which is small left, over ES, small bottom. Okay, so let's just see this pattern again. Small left, small bottom. So then over here, we should have large left, large bottom. But look, EA, that's not large left. CA is large left. That's what this should say, and it doesn't. Okay, so we're going to cross that off. Okay, all right, let's go to the next one. So this is CE over EA. So that's small left, and then this little piece left. Okay, that's okay so far. And let's look at this side. Small right, this little piece right. So again, top left, bottom left, top right, bottom right. That works. There's your answer. All right, let's look at the next. Okay, take a minute and read it. Okay, so I just took the diagram and I just put down what they gave us. Now they want the length of AC. I'm going to kind of try to come up with a game plan here. So you think about this. If you think you know it, pause, work it out, and see what you come up with. Okay, so I'm looking at over here, I've got top left, bottom left. So I'm thinking, hey, what about top right, bottom right? Okay, because if I figure out what this is right here, that's really not what they want, though. They want this whole side AC. But like hypothetically, if I figured out what this was and it was like a 7, couldn't I just add 10 to it and that would give me my answer, right? So that's my game plan. So my game plan is, here we go. I'm going to go top portion on the left, and then I'm going to go a bottom portion on the left. Then I'm going to go top right. Then I'm going to go bottom right, just like that. Okay, so now I'm going to cross multiply. So I get 8x equals 120. I'm going to divide by 8. And that is going to give me x equals 15. Now remember, that's not what they're asking. But now I know that this is 15. And so now if I want to find the whole thing, I just do 15 plus 10, which is 25. And that's my final answer, which is choice 4. Okay, take a minute and pause me if you need to and write this all down, okay? All right, so I want you to take a minute. I want you to pause me, and I want you to do these 2 questions on your own, and then unpause and see if you got the answers right. Okay, there is your answer to the first one. Pause me, and if you have any issues, either see if you can figure them out. If you can't, start. When I see you next, we'll go over it. Okay, this one I'm going to explain a little bit. So they tell you that triangle AHE, that's the big one here, is isosceles. Okay, try to remember that isosceles means that this side here and this side here are equal. But what it also means is that this base angle is equal to this base angle. So they correspond with one another. And because we also have perpendicular lines, that means B is a right angle and so is D. So they correspond to one another. And lastly, then that means C and F correspond to one another. So they're similar triangles. And now we have all their corresponding parts. And that may help a little bit in us finding out what the correct answer is here. Okay, so which one is always true? So AH, well, AH is this big side. And if we look at that, that's not even a side of the 2 similar triangles that we're referring to, which is this one and this one. Okay, so I'm just going to say no. Okay, so let's look at the second choice. So the second choice says AC, so AC over EF. So A to C, E to F. So far, so good. Now let's look at here, AB, so the acute angle to the right angle, and that says ED. That's the acute angle to the right angle. Bing, 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 bing. There's our answer. Okay, so this one, the diagram is marked, and they basically want to know if this triangle here is similar to this triangle here. So I am going to redraw this picture, and I want to set it up so that A matches up with A, B matches up with D, and E matches up with C. Okay, so let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, why don't you take a look at this one, pause me, get an answer, and then turn me back on and we will see how you did. Okay, so the answer is choice 2. AD, side on the left, DE, bottom. Okay? And then AB, side on the left, BC, bottom. So left, bottom, left, bottom. All right. You're on your own on this one, kiddo. See how you do. Then when you're done, just turn the video back on. And there's your answer. Okay, just make sure that you took notes with everything. And again, anything that you don't understand, when I see you, we can always go over that.